Welcome to the Purpose to Create podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Wright, business strategist, certified life coach, and founder of Purpose to Create. This is a space for purpose-driven creatives to clear the noise, fuel their creativity with resilience, and lean into their purpose. I share actionable strategies and insights to help you thrive, both personally and professionally. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I'll go for that opportunity when I feel more confident. I'll start the business when I know exactly what I'm doing. I'll put myself out there when I stop doubting myself. But here's the reality. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct of taking action. In this episode, we're breaking down the truth about confidence and why it's not what you think. How action fuels confidence, not the other way around. Why waiting until you feel ready is holding you back. And how to build self-trust and move with boldness. A lot of people think confidence is something you either have or you don't. But confidence isn't an emotion, it's a skill. It's something you build, not something you're born with. Confidence is built through experience. The more you do something, the more confident you become in it. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite fear. And confidence grows through repetition, not perfection. So if you've been waiting to feel confident before you take action, you might be waiting forever. Let's be real. Because confidence doesn't come before the action. It follows it. Think about this. The first time you try something new, whether it was speaking in front of a group, learning a skill, or launching something, you probably weren't confident. Am I right? But the more you did it, the more natural it became. Confidence is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But here's what most people get wrong. They think confidence is what makes them take action, when in reality, action is what creates confidence. Here's how action builds confidence. Small wins create momentum. The more you step out, the more proof you have that you can do it. Experience reduces fear. When you face something repeatedly, it loses its power over you. And doing what leads to believing. The more you act like the person you want to be, the more you believe you are that person. Baby, because listen, you are that person. You are the sugar honey iced tea. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you remind yourself of that. You don't think your way into confidence, you act your way into it. Maybe you stepped out before and it didn't work the way you thought it would. I mean, hello, I've given you guys countless examples of how I did that. And now you're hesitant to try again. Hello, I raised my hand again. And I get it, but here's the truth. What happened then does not define what's possible now. Every attempt, every misstep, every lesson, it was preparing you, not disqualifying you. There are some things in you that need to be built up to prepare you for what it is that you need to do. If you've been waiting until you feel ready, you'll never feel ready. It's time to stop waiting and start doing. And you already know we may never feel ready. We tell ourselves that once we feel more confident, we'll take action. But waiting until you feel ready is a way of avoiding discomfort. Prime example. When it's time for me to get up in the morning, I don't want to get out of bed. I want to stay in my cozy, comfy bed. And if I wait to feel ready to get out of bed, I will be in bed all day, y'all. But no, I have to get up and get going. And when I start taking action and when I start moving out of the bed, that's when I start feeling ready. I don't feel ready when I'm in the bed. I actually am ready when I get out of the bed and start moving. That's a very practical example, but you can apply that to anything in your life. If you wait until you feel qualified, you'll never start. If you wait until you're sure, you'll miss the opportunities for sure. If you wait until fear disappears, you'll always be scary and fearful. You'll be stuck forever. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You have to make a decision. And the people who succeed aren't the ones who feel fully ready. They're the ones who move anyway. It's so interesting. I get this comment a lot from people I meet, friends that I have. They always tell me how they admire me because I'm not afraid to pivot. And I pivot in public, I pivot privately, and they're like, I can never do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. What's holding you back is yourself. I'm not going to let myself hold me back from anything that's for me. And if that means I need to move and if I need to pivot to get to where I need to be, I'm going to do it as many times as necessary. And I don't care what people think at all. And I have to tell my friends that and the people that I encounter, like, I'm glad that you admire me for doing that, but I'm honestly doing it to show you what's possible. You don't have to worry about what other people think. They don't have to live your life. You do. And I have to live my life to the fullest. And that means I'm not going to stay in a place that's going to keep me stuck. I am not going to allow myself to accept anything less than, and I'm not going to settle. I'm just not. And so I share these experiences with people to know that anything is possible. You just have to want it bad enough. It's not always going to come to you. You have to take action to go get it. It requires work. The work that we avoid doing, but it's so necessary. Like when I started this podcast, I didn't feel ready. I still don't feel ready. I could have waited until I had everything figured out, until I had the right equipment, until I had the right studio backdrop, until I had a studio, blah, blah, all the things, right? All the things excuses you make and talk yourself out of, this, that, and the third. And this is where I had experienced that delayed obedience, right? I thought I had to have all these things figured out. And the reality of it is I didn't. I literally had everything I needed to get started, but I talked myself out of starting when I was supposed to because I allowed what I saw going on around me and how other people were doing things, and I felt like I needed to do that. But I don't know what these people had to go through to get to where they are. And do I really want to experience what they have to go through to get to where they are? No. So why am I trying to be like somebody else when God called me to stand out? And so I had to start leaning into that. And you can only prepare but so much, okay? It really is taking action that gives you clarity. And that's what I try to be an example of. It's not going to always be perfect. The audio ain't going to always be right. I'm not going to always speak properly. I'm not going to always know what to say. I'm going to say and I'm going to pause. I'm going to do all the things. And it's never going to be right for somebody. Somebody's always going to pick apart something. But guess what makes me different from them versus me is that I'm actually doing it and they haven't even gotten started yet. But yet they will pick somebody apart because they are actually taking action and doing the work and they have the clarity that they need. And I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I had doubts, yes. Would people even listen? Do I have enough to say? Are the episodes long enough? Do people want to hear these topics? Are people struggling with these things? What if I don't get it right? What if I don't pronunciate a word right? What if I stumble my words? You know, all the things you take yourself through, right? But if I had waited until I felt confident, this podcast might not exist today. I will never know the impact that my podcast makes, will make, and has made. I will never know the full totality of that. But it's reached thousands of people through my influence and my impact, proving that confidence follows action, not the other way around. And that is something that you can trust yourself to do, to take action, because that action gives you clarity. Lean in, my friend. Confidence doesn't grow in isolation, no matter how much you try to isolate yourself. If you're constantly around people who play small, hesitate, or reinforce fear, it's going to be harder for you to move because you're not going to be able to see yourself outside of the confines of the people that you surround yourself with. But when you surround yourself with people who take bold steps, who take risks, even when they don't feel 100% ready, it rubs off on you. That's why I share my experiences freely. And I'm going to keep saying them over and over until you get it. Because I want that confidence, that clarity to rub off on you to know that all things are possible. You just have to take action. in spite of fear. I do it in spite of fear every day. Every time I record an episode, I'm doing it in spite of fear, in spite of anxiety, in spite of depression, in spite of myself. I'm not going to delay my obedience anymore. I'm going to do it afraid, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And that's all we could ever do, is to the best of our ability. Ask yourself this: who are you spending time with? Are they encouraging you to move forward, or are they reinforcing your doubts? Confidence is just another word for self-trust. Believing that no matter what happens, you will figure it out. Trust me, you will figure it out. Here's how you build it. Keep promises to yourself. Show yourself that you can follow through. You are a person who completes things. And if you don't believe it yet, tell it to yourself. Repeat after me: I'm a person who completes things. Done is better than perfect. Another way to build it is to take small, consistent actions. Progress beats perfection every time. Reframe your failures. Instead of "I failed," think "I learned." I don't take no losses, only lessons. I didn't fail at this. I learned something from this. I learned whether or not the thing worked. And that's okay if it don't work, but at least you tried it. Make sure you surround yourself with bold people. Confidence is contagious. Stay close to those who move in faith, not fear. One of my favorite scriptures, Joshua 1 verse 9, he gives us the strategy. He said, "Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid and don't be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." For that reason alone, it helps me to become more bolder in who God has called me to be. So no matter what it looks like, if it don't look like what I think it's supposed to look like, guess what? I'm still called to be strong and courageous and not to be afraid or discouraged, despite what it looks like. Stop talking yourself out of doing the thing. Instead, take small, consistent actions that lead up to the big thing. Stop overwhelming yourself with all of the steps. In today's Purposeful Pause, what's one action you've been avoiding because you don't feel, air quotes, ready? What's one small step you can take today to build confidence through action? Here's what I want you to take away today. Confidence isn't a feeling you wait for. It's a decision you make. You don't need permission. You don't. Stop seeking external validation. You don't need permission. God has already given you permission to do it. That's the only validation you need. You don't need perfection. Stop using perfectionism as an excuse as to why you can't move. You just need to take the step. Just take the step. Everything will become clear to you as you start taking the step. Because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. So stop waiting, start moving, and I want you to remember this: you are more ready than you think. Thank you for listening to the Purpose to Create podcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and send this episode to a friend. Until next time, keep creating with purpose.